Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. They kept going because they were holding on to something. What are we holding on to, Sam? There's some good in this world, Mr. Farrell, and it's worth fighting for.
In terms of actions, Alex, that we have taken, or we're working to take, I should say, from the federal government, we've increased disinformation research and tracking within the Surgeon General's office. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread disinformation. We're working with doctors and medical professionals to connect to connected medical experts with popular who are popular with their audiences with accurate information and boost trusted content. So we're helping get trusted content out there. We also created the COVID community core to get factual information into the hands of local messengers.
What's your message to platforms like Facebook? They're killing people. I mean, look, the only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated. And they're killing people.
What can men do against such reckless hate? Ride out and meet the fate.
This day we fight! By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I bid you stand! Stand of the West!
This day, we rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Welcome to the show. You are one-on-one with Wes the Sports Guy here on YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey, and also as a podcast. You can get the podcast link at westhesportsguy.com. Make sure you bookmark that site if you want to get that podcast link. YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, all the previews, recaps, everything you would want to know in the world of sports. Bookmark westhesportsguy.com. You want to get all the social media links, it is all conveniently located for you there at westhesportsguy.com. Getting into it this week, it's going to be a bit of a different theme with me coming back. Not really going to focus on sports too much, although there is a little bit of a tie-in at the end of this episode, so I hope you do stick around, and thank you for sticking around and checking back in, leaving a like, leaving a comment, subscribing. Make sure you hit that bell below to get notified when all the latest videos are posted on all the various video formats and the podcast as well. That'll be posted there basically the same day as the video is uploaded every Saturday. It might fluctuate every now and then, but it's going to be a weekly show on the podcast as you see here on the video. But getting into it basically with a topic that is kind of on everybody's mind and has been on everybody's mind for the last year and a half. It's been lockdown madness. Now, the topic in the very beginning, just to kind of give you a little refresher. So when the whole thing started, the focus was to not overwhelm the hospitals. Let's try to keep everybody healthy. Let's try to keep everybody as safe as humanly possible. All the kind of language and lingo that you would expect the powers that be via the local levels all the way up to the federal level to tell you, hey, we're doing it all for your health and safety. Well, where are we at now? We're basically at a point where they're telling you two different stories. They're telling you, hey, we're still doing this. We're still thinking about you and your best interests, but we're also thinking about the collective, the totality, and everybody. It's not just on an individual basis. Now, that's all fine and dandy. That's great. That's fantastic. I mean, I want you to think about that. I want you, being that you are an elected representative, some of them, not all of these people are, but some of them are elected representatives to represent you in your district. However, are they looking out for you and your best interests? Has locking down certain segments of the country been in your best interest? Has shutting down your business been in your best interest? There's been a lot of long-term factors that we now see in real time that is not working and has not helped anybody. Have the hospitals been overwhelmed? Yes, there have been some that were basically at a point where they were overwhelmed with the influx of patients. That has happened. Has it happened on a national scale the way they were hoping it didn't get to that point? No, it never did. It never did. And that's not taking away the loss that some have suffered from all of this. I am not focusing on that because, yes, unfortunately, people have succumbed to this. And I am truly sorry that that has happened. But at the same time, we cannot stop what we have always been doing as a human species to continue to live on. This is something that we're going to have to live with. We're going to have to learn to live with. And the powers that be, whether at the local or the national level, do not want you to learn to live with this. Case in point, what have humans always been able to do to survive via any kind of infection, whatever the disease may be? What have we always been able to do before a magical little thing in the arm came along to kind of help to propel and accelerate the immunity factor that is natural in your system? You've always done it naturally. And there have been a lot of people that have gotten this, but they've also recovered naturally. They've needed some assistance. If they had to go to a hospital is there for you to help in that. But at the same time, if you were able to recover naturally without having to go to the hospital for it, you beat it. Congratulations. That's fantastic. That's what, as a human species, that is a God-given gift to be able to fight something off without the need for assistance. But the other thing that you need to ask yourself throughout all of this, has anybody in a position of power promoted the fact that the vast majority of those that are suffering, besides their age, the main comorbidity for a lot of these folks that have succumbed to this, unfortunately, is that they are obese. They are grossly out of shape. They are overweight. Has anybody pointed that fact out to you? That is a fact. Has anybody pointed out that, hey, maybe as a society, instead of being what's always been a major crux of a problem for the last decade plus, is that we are a very obese society, just specifically talking about the United States, but also that's been a problem for the rest of the world now too. Has anybody advocated for getting yourself back into shape, losing some of that weight? You don't have to be super duper thin, but you need to lose some of that excess, because this is a part of the comorbidity that goes towards succumbing to this disease, this virus that we all are either somewhat afraid of, really don't give a damn about, all that kind of stuff that comes with it. But has anybody told you that? Have you asked yourself, why are we not talking about treatments, therapeutics, rather than, oh, just go to a hospital if you really get sick? Has anybody been advocating for that yet? Lately? At all? Throughout this entire time? Unfortunately, the vast majority are not. There are ways to help yourself out there. I am not a medical professional. I am just looking at this from an outside observer for the most part, but also somebody that looks at statistics on a daily basis when it comes to the world of sports. And I've been looking at this stuff from a data statistics standpoint, from what they are providing for us, including our own CDC. The lies throughout this entire time have been astronomical, to say the least. But you can ask yourself that. Why are they saying these things over and over and over again, and now they've pivoted to saying something else that contradicts what they've said 6 months ago? Oh, well, things change. Things are evolving. Things are constantly, new data is coming out. the reasons and all that stuff, you can say that all you want, and if you come to your own conclusion, that's fine. You did that for yourself, but don't just blindly follow along with this anymore. Don't do it. Because the writing is on the wall, folks. Your rights are under attack. They've been under attack before this lockdown madness, and now they've increased tenfold. You need to realize what is at stake. If you cannot be able to speak for yourself, whether it be in a public square, out in the middle of a school board meeting, a town square, whatever the case may be, but now the public square is via social media. You're being told you cannot say these things in the public square, online. Well, excuse me, private business or not, you cannot restrict what I can and cannot say. Granted, as long as I'm not doing a call to action, which means call to violence, as some folks are doing online, that you permit on a daily basis. You can decide and actually see for yourself who I'm referring to that is doing a call to action on a daily basis on social media all over the place. It's very easy to find. But that's something that should not be protected. But yet, when I share something or say something that goes against the grain for the powers that be with the lockdown madness, I'm told I can't say that. I'm told you're gone, you're suspended, you're going into timeout. Why is that? But the focus of this is not so much about what you can and cannot say in any aspect of it, but it's that what are you yourself, what are you going to do going forward? Are you going to be the one that says, oh, they want us and our kids to wear masks again inside of school all day long, when we know this stuff has never worked for anything before? It hasn't been working for this now, and yet we're going to do this again. Does that sound like a good idea to you? Does that sound like something that we need to just continue to do this again and again and again, regardless of whether or not you got the thing in the arm? We have to do that again when it's never worked before? We've never tried that before? When it comes to you accessing businesses, when it comes to you going out to eat, going to the gym to get yourself into shape, as I mentioned before, nobody's advocating for that. But if you decide for yourself you want to get yourself in shape, well, we can't let you in unless you put that thing on your face or you get the thing in your arm. We will not let you in. Is this a free society now? With talk of that? Is this free? Are you free right now? There's a real problem going on right now. And it partly has to do with people getting sick. It partly has to do with those not advocating for clear solutions that prevent you from getting really sick and having to go to a hospital. And then there are those that are just grabbing power and control. And it is clear as day to see how all of this has been transpiring and what it could potentially lead to. That's very disheartening to see at this time. My answer to a lot of this, and really frankly most of it, is no. No, I will not be putting something over my face to restrict my breathing to enter an establishment. If that's what you require, my answer is no. And I have a simple answer to the rebuttal of that by simply saying, I have immunity. 3 words. I have immunity. I'm not doing that. You're telling me I have to get the thing in my arm because I cannot live freely in this society unless I do. My answer is no. And I've said 1,000 times before all this madness transpired into what it's become now, is that if you want to wear one, fine. That's up to you. If you don't, that's fine too. That is also up to you. If you want to get the jab, that's fine. That is up to you. If you don't want to get it, that is also fine. It is up to you. A mayor, a city council, a school board, a public health official who was not elected, Your congressman or woman, your senator, the president of the United States, none of them have the right to either recommend, mandate, or force you into something that you yourself do not want to do. That's not the American way. That is not what the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution itself says that any of these folks have the right to do to you, the individual. There is nothing that gives them that right or power to tell you what you can and cannot do. So again, ask yourself, what will your answer be? If it's not for this now, what will the next thing be? What will your answer be then? My answer is no, and going forward with a lot of this, my answer will still be no. But I, as the individual, have come to that conclusion. I decide for myself. It is my God-given right to decide what is best for me. If you do not respect that, then we have no reason to discuss any of this. If you cannot respect what I have decided to do for myself, for you and yourself, you can decide what's best for you and live out your life the way you see fit. That is perfectly fine. I am not going to get in your way. You don't need to get in my way. I'm not going to get in your way. You decide. That's all it is. It's up to you, the individual. This is not coming from somebody above, somebody you've never seen before, somebody you've never elected. That is granted to you, the individual. You decide what's best for yourself. And that needs to be the case going forward. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell below to get notified when all the latest videos are posted here on this channel, whether it be YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, or Odyssey. Subscribe to that podcast. You can get the link at westthesportsguy.com. Use that hashtag #OneOnOneWest when participating in the weekly conversations on sports. It is good to be back. I will see you next time.